Welcome friends. So in today's video, I wanted to show you something that I had previously done with this coloring page. Here I have a stamp that I used of a sailboat, and I stamped that in the middle of this wreath and then just colored it and colored the clouds and the water. So I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys about not being able to draw or doodle, and thought I would make a video for all the unartists out there who don't want to draw or can't draw. I love to junk journal and I have all these stamps, and stamps are a really great way to add some uniqueness to your coloring pages and you don't have to draw. I looked through all of my stamps. I thought the teapots might be cute. I had this butterfly on a sunflower that I considered using. I've got a lot of stuff for junk journals, so tags and flowers. Got a llama, some cogs. This one here a friend gave me, and it has this really cute hot air balloon, but it was really just too small, couldn't do much with it. Some bird cages, and then I've got this one. I really like this clock one. These here, which are my Tim Holtz. And then I've got this really cheap one from the Dollar Tree. So I looked through all my stamps and I finally decided that I was going to do this kind of steampunk style. So we're going to start with the cityscape at the bottom. I decided to choose New York. I thought that would work best with the steampunk style. So I love these clear stamps. So typically you would use a silicone stamp on these, but for whatever reason, these Tim Holtz stamps that I got are flimsy, and they stick to the clear blocks. So I used the clear block for my Tim Holtz stamp and just stamped it to the bottom. And you want to make sure you press really hard on these, especially the bigger the stamp, the more likely it is that you'll lose some of the lines in the middle if you don't press very hard. I got out my big block for this cuckoo clock, and I am using the VersaFine ink, but it is a gel ink and it will bleed through almost everything. So make sure whatever you're using that you tested on a page prior. I had actually already tested this when I did my sailboat. This one I always really struggle with getting the middle to stamp down, and it actually came out okay this time, so I was really pleased to see that. And then I surrounded my wreath with all these cute cogs, and once I got all my stamps on there, I just proceeded to color the page like normal. So I started off coloring my clock. I colored the clock face brown, and then I took my white gel pen to go in and color in my dove, especially anywhere that the coloring page lines were coming through under the dove. And then I wanted to keep all of the colors really muted, so I'm not using a ton of Prismacolor for this one. I'm using some cheaper Crayola colors, Amazon Basic colored pencils, and just a few of the Prismacolors, but for the most part I used some really cheap just Crayola and Amazon brand colored pencils. And I drew the cityscape. I tried to keep the buildings kind of like brick colored, brown colored, gray for metal, tried to keep it the colors that would be kind of natural to a city. And I wanted to keep the flowers pretty basic because I didn't want it to be too bright. Again, trying to go for a more muted look this time because I want it to be antique-y and vintage and a grungy steampunk style. So my flowers were just this kind of light blue. I darkened it up in the middle just to give it a little bit of dimension. And for the leaves, I kept it this very yellowish green color. Some of the lines I darkened with a pen, anything that I felt like needed to pop a bit more or that I thought really didn't show up very good, so I wanted to darken. I darkened up the clock quite a bit. And then I took my brown ink and I distressed the edges to make it look antique-y. And if you've never seen this method before, you can take a napkin. I have this one that has all this writing on it and I really want to put the writing. I wanted to use this writing. So if you have a napkin, you pull the plies apart. This one is cheap. It's only a 2-ply. Some napkins are going to be 3-ply. So you want to separate all the plies until you're left with just a single ply of whatever your design is for your napkin. And then you tear out the part that you want to use. You can cut it, but there'll be a very distinct line. And usually when you're doing something like junk journaling, you want it to have that torn edge. It's going to look more natural to the piece, but you can cut it if you so choose. I just think it looks a little better to just rip it. And you can use glue, Elmer's glue for this. I actually like to use a clear paint medium because it's enough that the napkin can stick down on the page, and also I feel like it's easier to work with. You just have to move really, really fast, but most people use gesso or glue. I just happen to use a clear paint medium because I just find it easier. Now, the purpose for doing this is that you can still see your design through the napkin, so it gives it this transparent look. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.